Welcome to StopFake, the place where we debunk disinformation and set the record straight. I'm Marko Suprun, and this week we dissect the following. A Ukrainian rock star calls for the destruction of the current rule in Ukraine. Video manipulation makes sure you truly can't believe your eyes. Fake countries with a fake football league. And economic disaster awaits Ukraine. Details ahead. Ukrainian rock star and activist Sviatoslav Vakarchuk calls for the destruction of Ukraine's current government, announced Russia's REN TV, the RBK agency, and others. The Kyiv regime is a cancerous tumor which must be destroyed so it does not continue to eat at the country. Russian sites misquote Vakarchuk's address to Ukraine's Leadership Academy on June 23rd. Now, Vakarchuk did address the graduates of the Leadership Academy, but he did not call upon them to destroy Ukraine's government, but rather to fight against the system, to rid the country of corruption and business-as-usual attitudes, and to make Ukraine a better country for all its citizens, not just the ruling elites. The gist of Vakarchuk's address was about fighting the powers that be, the current system in Ukraine. He called on young Ukrainians not to fear the system, but to change it. The system has many fears, but most of all, it's afraid of you, Vakarchuk said. Using hunting as a metaphor for fighting against the closed and corrupt political system, the singer called on the Leadership Academy graduates to target the system and eventually replace it. While Vakarchuk is clearly advocating for a change in the system in Ukraine, he is not calling for the destruction of the current leadership. He sees Ukraine's future in the young graduates he was addressing. You must take their place, he told them. There are fakes, and then there are deep fakes. Hoax videos that are so realistic they can trigger scandals and even spark outright conflict. These fake videos can place people where they never went and say things that they never said. As fake videos improve, they could rock nations, inflame religious and political tensions, experts say. They have become such a potentially disruptive threat that an arm of the Pentagon, the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, is launching a contest next month to devise techniques to distinguish between real and fake videos. You can say it's fake, but people will say, I saw it with my own eyes. But those eyes, quite literally, will be lying to you. Earlier this year, the American comedian and director Jordan Peele made a fake video of former President Barack Obama seemingly warning people about fake news. Take a look.
You see, I would never say these things, at least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele. This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet. That's a time when we need to rely on trusted news sources. It may sound basic, but how we move forward in the age of information is going to be the difference between whether we survive or whether we become some kind of dystopia. Thank you, and stay woke.
If you want to learn more about how these deep fakes are made so you can spot them, check out this website where you can see how a man placed his wife's face on the body of actress Anne Hathaway for a television interview. For now, you can tell if a video is fake by checking if the person in it is blinking normally, about 17 blinks per minute. As you can see, I've blinked a little bit more. Trust me, I'm real. We've heard of fake news, but fake football? Well, it's not completely fake, it's just basically second-rate. You've probably never heard of the World Football Cup, but it took place in London earlier this month. A team called Karpatalya beat Northern Cyprus in the final. The event was organized by CONIFA, the Confederation of Independent Football Associations, which calls itself the international governing body for non-FIFA associations, and sponsored by Irish bookmaker Paddy Power. This may sound harmless enough, but this confederation gives a remarkable amount of prominence to separatist regions, especially those backed by Russia, such as Transnistria, Nagorno-Karabakh, and lately, the self-proclaimed Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics. The Karpatalya team that beat Northern Cyprus in June just happens to be a region of Ukraine with a large population of ethnic Hungarians, and there's talk of holding one of CONIFA's championships in Russian-annexed Crimea. CONIFA is one of the darlings of Russia's state news agency Sputnik and is reported to be heavily financed by official Russia. For a deeper understanding of this alternative football organization, which apparently has a great deal of enthusiasm for Russia and things Russian, and which gives a political platform to separatism, visit our website, stopfake.org. On June 18, several pro-Kremlin media circulated the distorted claims of Ukrainian Member of Parliament Vadim Rabinovich, who predicts that Ukraine's economy is heading for hard times. Ukraina.ru, RT, and Lenta.ru all feature stories based on Rabinovich's pronouncements, warning about the West's underhanded dealings with Kyiv and Ukraine's unavoidable future default. Ukraine on the brink of disaster because the West is plundering its national wealth, which will result in a $117 billion debt by 2045, Rabinovich declared. Now, Ukraine's national debt is indeed a problem, impeding the country's economic development. Ukraine's current debt is about $65 billion, according to the country's Prime Minister, Volodymyr Groysman. In a recent interview with the Interfax news agency, Groysman said the next 4 years will be extremely challenging as Ukraine must repay $29 billion. According to Ukraine's finance ministry, Ukraine will need to repay a total of $114.8 billion by 2045. This amount includes the loans taken by the current Ukrainian administration, as well as international debts incurred by previous governments. World Bank economic forecasts do not predict a default by Ukraine. An April 2018 World Bank report shows the percentage of the country's debt is gradually declining. World Bank experts forecast that by 2020, Ukraine's national debt will amount to 68% of its GDP, which is below the critical threshold of 80% established by the bank. Currently, the U.S. debt to GDP ratio is 106%, Japan's is 220%, and Spain's is 105%. That's it for this week. Be vigilant. Don't consume fakes. If you spot any disinformation about Ukraine, send it to us for a truth autopsy. You can find more fake stories set straight, as well as useful tools for spotting mendacity in the media on our website, stopfake.org. I'm Marko Suprun, and this is StopFake. Thanks for watching.